Is property investing risky? My name's Thomas O'Regan. I have a 9 property portfolio and I make these videos to help people invest in property. Now, if I was to say to you guys, let's go jump off a cliff. It's the long weekend. Let's have fun, some fun. Let's go jump off a cliff. Okay, that sounds like pretty risky, right? Like, I don't think anyone would want to do that because no one wants to die. Because, you know, if you're going to jump off a cliff, you're probably going to die. Well, let's look at it, okay? So what is associated with it that makes it risky? It's not knowing, it's not understanding the risk itself. So if I was to say to you in a different way, like, let's go bungee jumping, is that something you guys would want to do? Would you guys want to go bungee jumping? Because effectively it is the same thing as jumping off a cliff, right? But it's like, what is attached to the risk that makes it less risky? What are the precautions that are put into place which makes whatever you're doing less risky? Are you jumping off a cliff into water, or are you just jumping off a cliff, a 200-meter cliff to your death? Okay, so whatever the risk is that you are going through, whatever the risks you are doing, there is a way to make it safe and profitable in terms of property investing. So basically, when looking at risks for property, you just want to understand all the risks associated with the investing in property and mitigate them as much as you possibly can. So what I wanted to do just now is I just wanted to use an example of a property that we are purchasing right now, and this is how it went. So basically, we negotiated the property price, and we signed the contract. We signed the contract subject to finance and building and pest inspection, because the finance, because we use banks, we use lending to get access to the funds to acquire the property, to purchase the property. We never actually know what the bank's policies and criteria are on any specific property. So we don't know if the bank is going to lend on the property or not. So every time we sign a contract to purchase a property, we write subject to finance as a clause in the contract. So in the case that the banks do not want to lend on the property for whatever reason, maybe it's our personal credit, maybe it's the bank's policies that don't lend on this particular property. Whatever it is, you are covered in terms. If you're buying property, you have subject to finance, and you cannot get finance. In the case you put subject to finance in the contract, you are covered. Number 2, we always put subject to building and pest inspection. Look, guys, like, this stuff is super basic. Like, this is everyone knows. You put subject to finance and you put subject to building and pest inspection when you're buying a property. But for you who don't know, that's you pretty much have to do that. And there's other situations where you don't have a choice. Like, if you're buying, and I don't buy at auction, most investors don't go near auctions, but if you were to go into an auction and you buy a property at auction, you are buying subject to nothing. Like, so if you are the winning bidder, you have to go through with a purchase, like, no matter what. And if you can't, you just lose your deposit. That's why I do not like doing auctions, because it's too risky. Anyway, the building and pest inspection always subject to building and pest inspection. And it's like, I mean, if you're a builder and you understand how to inspect for pests like termites and stuff, then maybe you don't need to do one. But if you just work in construction or something and you know something about building, just still even get a building and pest inspection done. Like, don't rely on yourself to do that sort of thing. You can pay a professional to legitimately check it and have everything in writing, contractually binding, that the building is structurally sound and there are no pests. So it's not very expensive. It's only about $500 to do a building and pest inspection report. It's worth it, okay? So back to this property that we're currently purchasing. So we signed the contract. We were happy with the price, and usually, just a bit of a tangent here, I actually like it when there are issues that arise from the building and pest inspection report and or anything, mainly the building and pest inspection report. Why? Because it gives me an opportunity to get a further discount on the property, okay? And it's like you know that there could be an issue with the property, and I know I'm going into it knowing that I'm taking on that risk that comes up in that building and pest inspection report, and whatever we negotiate, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but basically the property that we purchased had water leakage in the bathroom, and we've just gone okay to, if we were to have to replace the entire bathroom, it is going to cost $15,000 to replace this apartment's small bathroom. Okay, so worst case scenario, and if we move forward with this purchase, it's going to cost us 15 grand to move forward. So we sent a letter out to the vendor, and we said, look, we're kind of a little bit uneasy about this issue that's come up. There's a water leak that's come up in the building and pest inspection report, but if you give us a $15,000 discount, we will be happy to move forward with it. Okay, so I understand, and I'm getting a little bit into negotiating here, but I'm just telling you exactly how the deal's going. So basically, I understand that information, that there is a leak in the bathroom, is news to the vendors, and we made it sound a lot worse than it is. And we basically we budgeted for maximum, like the maximum cost it would cost to repair the thing, and we've got a further quote just for us, so we know that the repair could be done for around $5,000. Also, the repair, it is most likely, it's the building, the apartment is in a strata complex, so the repair is most likely a strata issue. So meaning that the strata will pay for the cost of the repair. And so basically, there is a potential that we won't have to pay any money at all to get the repair done. And then if we want to get the repair done, it would only cost $5,000. But we've asked for a $15,000 discount to effectively take on that risk, this property that has water damage or like water leakage happening. Okay, so the vendor has come back to us, and they've said yes, they accept the $15,000 discount, so we are going to move forward with the contract, right? But in the first place, if we didn't get a building and pest inspection done, we wouldn't be aware of the actual risk that we are taking on in purchasing this property. So just when you're assessing properties, when you're looking to purchase properties, just make sure you're putting in all the appropriate procedures to mitigate as much of the risk as possible. And then if you're taking on any excess risk, just make sure you are being aware of the further risk you are taking on, and basically get compensated correctly for taking on that risk. So I'll just end it here. But for me, like the biggest risk I see for people is actually like not investing. People choose not to invest because it's too difficult, it's too risky, it's too hard to understand, and they effectively are losing hundreds or even millions of dollars by not even investing in the first place. Like for me personally, me and my wife, we started investing in what I would call investment grade properties, building our property portfolio. And in the last 3.5 years, we have grown, like our equity in our properties has grown $1 million, right? So in 3.5 years, our growth in our properties is $1 million. I don't know about you guys, but making $1 million in 3.5 years is, most people can't even make that much money in their job, and we have made that money just from buying the properties, okay, and holding them, and that's basically what I'm saying when I'm saying the risk. Risk is, if you don't buy properties, you're at risk, because you're at risk of losing, letting that time go by where you could have owned an asset that's inflating in value, but you chose not to take action. Now, I'm a buyer's agent. I help people buy properties and make the choice, execute on the purchase, and buy properties that are appropriate for that part of their journey in their property investment path. And anyway, my name's Thomas Reagan, and I hope this helps. Bye.